Hello, 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 and welcome back to Ascension TV Online. I am so excited to be here again today, and really specifically to be here with Kieron Morgan, a friend and a co-author from the Energy Healers Oracle, and a beautiful friend of the dragons. Okay, and this is why I'm so excited to talk to Kieron. Kieron, welcome, welcome, welcome. How about telling us a little bit about what you do in the world and how you started working with dragons?
Okie dokie. When you say what I do in the world, do you mean like a day job type thing?
Anything you want to share with
Anything?
us?
All right.
Tell
Well,
us
mate,
about yourself, Kieron.
I kind of lead a double life. It's a bit of a superhero thing.
Love it.
By day, I'm a postman at the
Yeah,
moment, so I wander
yeah.
around where I live in Somerset and deliver the post to people. And then
Mm.
evenings, weekends, and days off, I work as a healer and a reader, doing all kinds of work. Lots of work, which is for cleansing of energy, clearing soul path, past life contracts, that kind of thing. Working with the dragons a lot. I'm
Mm.
an alchemist, and I work a lot with the energy of the Merlin and magic as well.
Mm.
But
Beautiful.
the energy of dragon fire, the dragon's breath, I've brought forward the healing system, Pendragon Reiki, which is
Right.
working specifically with different types of dragons for healing and for protection and for all kinds of things. And this about 6 months ago, the Dragon Rune Oracle deck, which you can probably see behind me, made its way out into the world, which
Amazing.
is, as it kind of says in the on the box, an Oracle deck working with dragon runes, which are really interesting. They're similar to the sort of Viking Futhak runes
Yeah.
in the way that they work, but yeah. So I use those for readings and just try to do a lot of energy work connected with the ley lines, connected with Mother Earth, connected also with Ascension as well. And a
Yeah.
lot of the work that I do with individual clients is about clearing energy, clearing past life, clearing timelines for people,
Mhm.
releasing them from those sort of soul contracts and those types of things
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
kind of hold us back unconsciously.
Yeah.
And it's one of the great advantages of working with the energy of the Dragon Collective is that linear time and space doesn't mean anything to them as a collective. So
Sure.
they're not bound by, oh, we can't clear that because it was thousands of years ago. They just toodle
Mhm.
off and do their thing. And
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing this kind of work. Let's see, nearly 30 years
Yeah.
now. So and I was lucky enough, probably about 20 of those 30 years ago, to be called the Brother of Dragons by the Dragon Collective from my dragon familiar. So it's a huge honor, and it's my job to kind of be an advocate for them and their collective work, and do a lot of myth busting because there's a lot of mythology around dragons. There's been a lot of spin doctoring, especially over the last 1,000 years.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's a whole sort of collective group of us dragon advocates trying to dispel those myths and peel away those spun stories and try to reveal some of what we believe to be the spiritual truth behind that mythology and that symbolism. Lots of people are scared of dragons. Lots of people see them as big, nasty, grumpy gits
Yeah. Yeah.
that will set fire to you as soon as I say hello.
Yeah.
But in my experience and the experience of lots of others, that is not the case. It's kind of
Sure.
a
Sure.
spin that the other forces that are trying to sort of hold us back a little bit from ascension is
Yeah. Yeah.
are working to try and keep us and hold us in that stasis. Yeah.
Yeah. I so hear you. And do you know what's coming to mind, Kieran, is I watched a film not long ago, oh, I don't know, last year. Again, I'm a bit like a dragon. Time is like a little bit, loose for me. Last year, anyway, and it was something like How to Keep a Dragon or something. And it was exactly that. There was a town and they were terrified of the dragons and they were always trying to kill them. And then one boy was like, and he went off and found this cute one and was like, maybe it's not so bad. And then he turned it around, and they became friends. And I was just I was almost like crying with happiness because so many things that are beautiful have been twisted, and then suppressed and so yeah, it feels like such important work. And it's interesting you were saying about your double life, because when you were saying about walking round, Kieron, come back to the dragons in a minute. I was like, yeah, you're clearing the roads that you're going down. So you know that, right? It's kind of like, is it a double life or is it a convenient way to get you out in the world?
Oh, it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I love
before I did this as a postman, I used to deliver pasties around Somerset in a delivery van,
it.
so I would be driving around a bigger distance. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was still quite aware of the energy work. And as we know, as you may know, that there's a lot of ley lines in and around Somerset. They're coming
Yeah.
together, especially around Glastonbury itself. So there's a lot of work to be done to help clear
Yeah.
those lines. And
Yeah.
another name for ley lines is dragon lines. If you go to different parts of the world, they're referred to as dragon lines. And so that dragons, that energy, that movement is all part of that shift of the ley lines. And
Sure.
part of that, as we were saying about the sort of negative spin, was it came from the transition from a pre-Christian world to a Christian world, and that connection, especially of the divine feminine to the land, the hedge witches, the sort of apothecaries and the wise women, and they were very much connected to the land, and they would be connected to that energy, the turning of the seasons, the change of the year, the movement of the ley lines, the rise and fall of that energy. And so, as that sort of breaking down of the divine feminine and this rise of the masculine energy, that whole genre, the whole actually sort of divine feminine energy and women in general were pushed down, and that all of those things kind of demonized. To be called to be called a dragon 1,000 years ago would be a compliment to a wise woman or a hedge witch, but even to be called a witch now is obviously is still seen as an insult.
Yeah.
And to be called an old dragon as well is not something that
I,
women that have moved into the sort of crone part of their life really necessarily embrace. So more do thou than ever before. But
oh,
and it is another part of my work, as you may have noticed. I'm a man. I've got the beard and everything. So a lot of what I do is to try to redress that balance as well. I'm very feminine in my energy and my nature and my magic. That's about holding space and allowing things to happen
yeah.
dynamically, powerfully, strongly, which is the ability to allow something to happen is an incredible strength from a energetic perspective from the divine feminine energy.
Yeah.
So I
Surrender, trust.
yeah, and allowing to
Yeah.
consciously allowing, consciously holding space. So I do spend quite a lot of time as well, kind of apologizing for my gender, because the men have done some really stupid things and some really terrible things and some really aggressive, destructive things in the name of their god for a very long time. So kind of redressing that balance. And I look a little bit scary. I look like I could quite easily be running through the forest with an axe screaming for the Valhalla and the end of days. But as soon as anyone has spoken to me for more than a couple of minutes, that facade very quickly falls away
Yeah. Oh,
to what's hopefully more of a soft, gentle soul who just wants everyone to respect nature, love each other, and get on and be happy. Really.
oh gosh, I love that, Kieran. And yeah, and I can so feel that in the calmness of your voice. And I feel like I'm the opposite. So I felt very much as a child very masculine, and I would have like an inner fluidity. And that's often, it's really kind of why I still keep my hair long, because sometimes I'm like, oh, it's so annoying. And I shaved my dreads off years ago, and it was like, oh, this is so liberating. But I really look masculine. You've met me, obviously, I'm 6'1", and I can be really in warrior energy, but also I have seen my wounded male. So in some ways, I've had parts of me that have been very angry at men, but I still also felt guilty of my part in that of other lives, because
mm,
I've always felt, seen, felt, had memory feelings of other lives. So yeah, if I've ever been angry at men, quite as soon quickly I'm like having parts of my soul come back, and I'm like, yeah, felt bad for some choice. So I think
mm,
we've all played a part in this divine journey. I was going to say comedy. A lot of people wouldn't see it as a comedy at the moment, but
mm.
the play that we're in, right, the unfolding. So let's come back to the dragons. Would you tell us? Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Okay, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I still have a boring job and I want to do healing stuff, do not, I want to say, don't underestimate what the work you're doing, because you don't always know. I just wanted to put that, because I have done, crappy jobs. I've worked in factories, I've worked in cafes, and low paid, slogged my guts off. But every single one, I have learned something about myself. I felt like I was paying karma back. So I used to be, okay, well, I believe I was a slave owner, at least in one of my lives. And I'm just being reminded of another one. I was a sultan and I wasn't nice. So I've kind of chosen in this life, I'm going to switch it, and I'll be at the lower kind of edge of society. But over the years, obviously, I've kind of had my downloads and whatever, and here I'm doing this. But everything teaches us, and you don't always know what on a soul level we're doing, isn't it? So anyway, I just wanted to
Mm.
share that, because if you're watching it going, I'm not doing anything fun, just you wait, because behind the scenes there can be things going on. But let's just hear, when did you see, feel, or know your first like feeling of connecting with the dragons? Was it as a kid, or was it a bit later on? What happened for you, Kieran?
Well, I'm although I've got my nice, softly, gently received pronunciation, Surrey Hills accent, I'm a very proud Welshman. My dad was a Welshman, Welsh rugby
Okay.
player, came from South Wales, and so I've always kind of identified as Welsh, even though I
Right.
was born in in Epsom and
Right.
brought up in the Surrey Hills. But I had the opportunity to claim the Welsh dragon flag as mine, and that's something that I people have always taken the mickey out of me about it, and people have always challenged me about it. You know, you were born and raised in England, so why do you think you're Welsh? You're half English and half Welsh. Blah 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 blah. So, it's a really simple one for me. I'm quite proud of this country. I'm not hugely proud of it at the moment, and some of the decisions that it's made and the people have made and the process that we're going through. But if I was to sing "God Save the King" or "God Save the Queen" back in the day when I was a kid, I would be proud and I'd sing it loudly, and that's all lovely. But when the Welsh national anthem plays in the rugby, and I'm not going to talk about rugby very much because Wales is having a very difficult time in the rugby at the moment, so we're
Okay.
just going to gloss over that. But
Okay.
when that anthem starts and I sing along with it, it makes me cry
Okay.
every single time.
Yeah.
I well up with passion. There's a beautiful phrase called heraeth in Welsh, which is a longing for a belonging or a Wales or even a place or something that doesn't really exist, but you long for it anyway.
Mm.
And I have that for that country. The land of my fathers is an absolute epitome of how it makes me feel. And when I've been there, when I visited, I used to go there as a kid quite a lot to visit family and things. But as an adult, when I go back, I just feel at home, and my heart
Yeah.
feels happy, and that's the main difference.
And do you know, Kieran, I will just say then, if you don't know, I'm in really almost the middle of Wales.
Mm,
I don't know whether you know that, but for viewers, and I don't feel like that's an accident. So I have also, like I was born in London. My mum was born on borderlands, and I always felt an oddity, like I'm not here, I'm not London, but I'm not, I was kind of neither, really similar. And
mm,
we would come to Wales a lot to visit friends. And it felt like holiday, but it felt like home. So when I then moved here, went off to uni, and I still came back, other people going off around the world, and I just have this feeling of being really rooted. So I really hear you.
mm,
And as a kid, you reminded me, we went on holiday and I had a toy dragon, and I just clung to this dragon. So it was something in me that was really, yeah, like, yeah, this is real. These are real.
mm,
It wasn't something laughable, but Yeah. So, and I didn't know that about you. So that's really, really
Yeah,
amazing.
we used to go to a beach in Llangennych in West Wales, and at the end of that is a place called Worm's Head. Now,
Okay.
I've been working with the dragons for a long time now, and worm is another word for dragon, WYRM. So when you look at it, it just looks like a long sleeping dragon's head going out into the sea. And it was always drawn there, always felt very comfortable on that beach, very happy with that. But yeah, so the Welsh dragon flag was around. Dad was very passionate about the Welsh rugby team because they were very good in the 70s and 80s and the early 80s, and he played with lots of people that were there in that. But my kind of dragony connection really kicked off when I was about 5, 6 years old. I was quite a strange kid. I was very advanced reading wise, and we lived in a big house. It was a boarding house for a school in the middle of nowhere, middle of a forest, and on Leith Hill, just outside Dorking. And I kind of, I think it was the summer holidays or something, kind of ran out of something to do. And it was raining and it was a dull day. So it was like, oh, I'm bored. I said to my dad, I'm bored. He said, well, go and read a book. So I read all my books. He said, well, go and read one of my books. Because he had a big library upstairs in our living room. He was a sci-fi fantasy nut. He read all of those. So I wandered upstairs and I grabbed this book with a dragon on the front of it. I thought that was quite cool. And I said to my dad, I held it up. I went, can I read this one? And he sort of laughed and went, yeah, yeah, read that one. That's fine. It was The Hobbit.
Uh,
And he was
oh,
laughing to himself because he thought, well, you're 5 or 6 years old. There's no way you can read The Hobbit.
yeah.
But about a week later, I sort of went back and went, is there another one? Can I read another one?
Oh my
He
God,
said,
I love it.
you can't have read that already. He said, well, what's it? And he was like, quite, what's the story? So I told him what the story was, and he kind of went, bloody hell, he has read it.
Yeah.
And so then he gave me the other ones, and then he had lots of books on dragons, which but the part of it was that many of the books on dragons, the dragon was kind of the challenger or the anti-hero, and it never sat properly with me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I don't feel like these dragons are big and grumpy all the time. I think even Smaug was kind of big and grumpy because he'd been sort of done over by the dwarves, sort of thing, and he'd been betrayed. So the early 80s, when I was sort of 8 or 9, something like that, and then maybe earlier, maybe later, I can't quite remember, but it's a long time ago now. The film The Never-Ending Story came out, which is a fantasy story about a kid that finds a book, this Never-Ending Story book, and he's reading it, and the characters come to life, and he goes on this journey, and the main character comes across a luck dragon called Falcor, who looked much more like an Eastern dragon, no big wings, no big scales, no angry fire. He looked like a big Labrador, and he was very kind and very generous and very silly and laughed a lot. And I thought, that's it. That's the type of dragon I want. That's my kind of dragon, kind of thing. And so I always felt that connection through that type of thing. And it's really interesting as well from a sort of film and TV point of view that perception of dragons has shifted and changed. Like you said, with How to Train Your Dragon, the Harry Potter stuff, Lord of the Rings, those types of things have brought magic to the awareness of the collective consciousness of us. And How to Train Your Dragon and Spyro as well, which is a video game, and a few others, paint dragons in a very different light, like something to work with instead of against. And with How to Train Your Dragon, when that cartoon came out, I cried my eyes out the first time. There's that scene where he sort of puts his hand out towards the dragon, and the dragon nuzzles against his hand, and
Yeah,
I just
that really. Uh,
yeah, and I just thought, and I'd met my dragon familiar at that point energetically, and I'd connected with the dragons, and I just thought, and the character Hiccup looks a little bit like the way I looked when I was a kid as well. So I kind
oh,
of this part of me that went, oh, that's me, that's my story, which was amazing. So the collective consciousness has shifted now, and kids love dragons now. You
yeah.
know, when I was a kid, we had Dungeons and Dragons that came out, and obviously your job was to kill the dragon. And in video games that I played, your job was to kill the dragon or overcome the dragon. And what I've learned on my spiritual path on my journey is that the dragons will challenge us to make sure that we're ready. They're
Mhm.
guardians of gateways of consciousness. They're guardians of gateways of our ascension, effectively. And we need to be challenged to make sure that we're ready to move on to that next level of energy work, the next level of consciousness, the next level of ideology. So that kind of the idea of the Ouroboros, the dragon that's biting its own tail, as a alchemical symbol, is one of renewal and transformation and sort of letting go or releasing those things that we don't need anymore, but getting back to something that's kind of purest version of ourselves, and constantly renewing, constantly questioning, constantly moving. And then there'll be quantum shifts and leaps forward. And the dragons are there to guide us through those points, but also to make sure that we're ready to move on,
Yeah.
and those kinds of things. So it's been a kind of lifelong journey. I had a big initiation after I kind of got really onto the spiritual path in my late 20s after my dad passed. And there was an initiation connecting with the energy of Merlin and the dragons. And my teacher at the time, my friend at the time, he sort of embodied the energy of the Merlin and challenged each of us in our own little initiation. And in that sort of 15, 20 minutes with my initiation, the Merlin kept calling me Little Red Dragon. And I was kind of taken aback by that for two reasons. Now, my teacher at the time, Ed, knew that I was Welsh, so that would be that part of that consciousness would go where that was connected. But what nobody knew, and I mean nobody knew, was that I talked to my mum about doing this initiation, and she was quite supportive, and she bought me a little red dragon pin, which is about this big, and I pinned it on the inside of my t-shirt,
Wow.
and nobody had seen it at all.
Yeah.
I deliberately kept it close, deliberately kept it out of the way, as a kind of checking in for me. I was like, well, if you're, if you can see what's going on, spirit, and if the spirit exists and all this kind of stuff is real, then here's your challenge. And he just kept calling me Little Red Dragon, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, then it's fine. Yeah, this stuff that's ticking a box for me, very much so. And then since that point, the dragons have always been part of my work, and even when I haven't been trying to connect with them, or times when I've kind of wanted to step back a little bit. There was once when I was doing a healing exercise at the College of Psychic Studies, and we were supposed to bring forward a guardian angel. And every time we were doing the work, and I did, was trying to do the work, and everything was fine. And when we finished, I couldn't. I'm normally quite clairvoyant, but I couldn't really see much. I just saw a sort of mist swirling around. I just assumed everything was okay. My client enjoyed the healing session. Got to the end, and the person running the workshop day sort of said, "Oh, is there any questions?" And this lady at the back put her hand up really quickly. He was like, "Yes." And she said, "Why was there a huge dragon sitting at the front of this room?
Oh,
There's supposed to be angels everywhere, and there was this massive dragon."
I
And
love it.
yeah, the workshop leader just went, "Oh yeah, that's him. That's Kieron's fault for that." So
Okay.
instead of a guardian, I mean, I do have guardian angels and I've worked with them, but at that point, the dragons were coming forward and doing their thing, and I wasn't necessarily in control of who was coming forward. And as you know, when you call in for the greatest good and the highest good, then whatever the client needs, they'll get. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was quite fun. But that was when they really made themselves
Known.
known to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And my I hadn't consciously called them in, but I think I've probably told you on another time that in fact it was I was on one of our other calls with Aurea talking about guides, and I was running in Portugal, and I just felt this presence, and I was like, oh, it's a black dragon just kind of like coming behind me, and I was like, oh, hi. Okay then, and a few, and then on a few other occasions, but I've definitely had. I feel like I've been tested a lot in this life, and I haven't always taken the best course of action. So I feel like I sense them being there, but they'll come in when needed. And I've done healings, and likewise had people say, "Do you know that you had a dragon like coming through, a big golden dragon?" And I know that was one of my friends. So they'll come in and they usher us like all the guys, isn't it? Sometimes we won't know them just because like there's a we see them with our senses. They're there in a presence and guiding us, isn't it? And one thing I would love to ask before we maybe go on to a meditation and meet our dragons, or at least one if there's one there ready, and we're ready indeed. Um, can you tell me about how you work with dragon breath? Because in this particular healing, it felt like I was like channeling an energy through my,
Mm,
it felt like it was a dragon breath. And I was like, okay, no training for this, just happening. But like you, I mean, I read the Discworld novels, for
mm,
example, and I just read them on repeat. I didn't have a library of interesting things. My dad was more about being outdoors and in nature. But that, I was always yes to all the stuff, of course, we've just forgotten. And then it's kind of got closer and closer in its way. Um, so I guess I was already saying yes energetically, even if I wasn't consciously taking the steps. But for other people that maybe feel like it's new, can you tell me how you work with them if you were with a client? Like, how might that happen?
yeah, sure. So there's the two different energies, really, the dragon's breath and dragon fire. Dragon fire is dynamic, it's quite masculine in its energy. It is kind of like sillet bang, if you've got a energetic stain on your energy system, then it's
Okay,
poof, and it dynamically clears it.
I got you.
The dragon's breath, which is epitomized by this swirling mist of energy behind me, which is in the dragon runes, is Ratanan. It's a swirling mist of infinite potential. It is the potential sort of field of magic, of energy all around us. The dragon's breath is more feminine in energy. It is soft and gentle, and it slowly shifts things. It slowly moves things. It slowly allows things to dissolve within it. So it's less kind of abrasive. It's less dynamic, but it's no less powerful. It's hugely powerful.
Sure.
Whenever I take people in meditation, guide people in meditation, or want to move people into a different state of consciousness, I call upon the dragon's breath to melt away our reality so that they can move into that state of consciousness, or we can shift and move, and magic and alchemy can take place. It's a lovely space to hold people in for transformation, for change. So you can take people within the energy of the dragon's breath, and then you can still have them have a good sort of good going over with the dragon fire. But it is a soft, gentle mist which releases things. There's an ancient chant which calls and summons the dragon's breath, which is Anal Nadrako Thespethud Dohiel Dienve, which it's been passed down for a long time, and there's people in the world which say it's absolute nonsense and it doesn't translate to anything, and others that say it's very deeply important and magical. I'm the second one. I think it's important. And interestingly, it's actually in a couple of films. It's in Excalibur when Merlin the magician calls the dragon's breath, so that Uhtred can sort of scooch across the into the castle and have his way with the duke's wife. He calls the dragon's breath to change his face and to create a bridge across the sea. And they actually use that chant in the film from the 70s as well, which is really interesting. And they did it again very relatively recently, 3-4 years ago, with Ready Player One, which was a game, which was a film which was all about video games. And in that, they were trying to sort of do something to destroy this evil uprising, and they were trying to break down some barriers and destroy this sort of negative energy that was trying to stop them living in this gaming world. And they did the same. They used the same chant. It has a rough translation for me as "Serpent's breath of life and death, the charm of my making." And in my world, and my world of knowledge and understanding of the dragons, serpents and snakes and dragons are synonymous. They're interchangeable.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
believe, I think, I like to hope that serpents and snakes have their own ascension path, and if they're
Mhm.
lucky, then they get to be turned into a dragon.
Right.
if
Yeah.
they do some nice good work. In Chinese mythology, the koi carp as well is does the same thing. If they ascend, they get turned into dragons, which is why some of the Eastern dragons have big long moustaches, the same as the koi
I
carp.
got you.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that makes sense. And actually, I've even seen, some of I mean, this AI produced, but some of the really beautiful artwork with kind of newer style dragons and
Mm,
spiritual kind of their friends, if you were, the human people. They will have like tendrils as well, not just the kind of classical spikes, but they
mm.
will have like a beard of energy. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
The story goes from the koi carp is that in the Yellow River in China, then the koi carp was trying to jump up a waterfall to reach the spawning grounds, and he was come across by a whole load of demons who threw insults and rocks and stones at him for many years because he was still trying to achieve this thing.
Okay.
And one dawn, the koi carp finally managed to leap up and reach the spawning grounds. And the divine had been watching this whole thing play out and seen the abuse that he'd been taken from the demons and seen the determination which he tried to just continue on this path and keep going.
Mm.
So when he reached that point of the spawning grounds and reached that top pool, the first light of the dawn sun hit the scales of the koi carp and he was transformed into a golden dragon by
Oh
the
my God.
divine,
Oh my God, I love that.
which is, to and it's a lesson in perseverance and
Really is.
overcoming your the challenges and the non-belief and that kind of thing. I've got a tattoo on me which I'm not sure that you'll be able to see, but here,
Okay. Yeah.
this is a, a koi carp kind of turning into a dragon. So he's got a
Oh,
quite
I
dragony
love.
head.
Oh my goodness. I love that. Yeah.
Um, you can just see that quite a dragony face, but still quite a koi carp body. And I had that done 6, 7 years ago now, maybe a little bit more. And so it was when I was going through a big personal transformation and change, and really embracing my sort of magical energy, having all the magical symbols tattooed on me and that kind of thing means that I couldn't hide as a normal person in society anymore. So
Okay.
it was
So
me.
real
It's my
kind of
coming out
line in
party.
the sand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was me coming out as a spiritual being and a practicing magician. For me, anyway, it was a big deal, and everybody else you know just saw that I was having my tattoo sleeves done. They don't really recognize many of the symbols,
Sure.
but for me, it was a big deal.
Yeah, I hear you. And that's often the way though, isn't it? Things that don't seem because our path, those leaps that we're taking on our hero's journey, they can seem insignificant to others, but
Mm,
yeah, really big for us, isn't it? Like, yeah, it's a whole other discussion, isn't it, that one?
mm.
I'm interested because when we've met, we've been busy working or, in calls about things. Can you share a little bit about you speak like dragon tongue? And that's what I was going to ask actually. That invocation that you spoke, do you feel, know, believe, does that come from dragon speak or how does that show up for you, Kieran?
Part of, I believe that some of it comes from ancient Welsh, because I've
Okay.
tried to sort of Google translate some bits, and some of the words
Okay.
kind of make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think, and Welsh is said to be one of the seven languages that came from Atlantis, from the different tribes in Atlantis.
Right.
So when I do my work, I like to translate from the English into Welsh, and try to use that language because I think it has a great sense of home for me. I really love the language. I don't speak Welsh very much, very well at all, but I think it's a very beautiful language. But it is kind of guttural and it is kind of earthy, and it feels like the kind of language that dragons would use, if that makes sense.
It really does now you're saying that. I hadn't like clicked that, but absolutely it does. Yeah, it's very lyrical
Yeah,
and it's beautiful, isn't it? Even if you don't understand it, it's just in it, and it also makes me think of different light language that I speak. It's very full,
mm.
it's very yeah, articulating, isn't it?
Yeah, and when I got into sort of really stepped into the connection with the dragons and started to incorporate transmissions in like you said, dragon tongue or dragon light language. It's just something that happened, and it's something that I kind of I'd once I'd started to do it, I realized that I'd consciously been stopping myself doing it for quite a long time.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
because it
Because
sounds a
people
bit,
are normal and there's a box that we put
yeah,
ourselves
and
in. Yes.
even the people that come along to workshops and things,
Yeah.
for many of them, they kind of want to go somewhere nice and lovely and have a nice latte and a biscuit. And
Yeah.
the work that I do is deeper and not stronger, but it's a different
Yeah.
part.
People.
Lots of shadow work, lots of going down into the psyche and trauma and wounds and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I see.
But once
Um,
I started to work with that language, I just let it flow, let it go, and just let it happen.
is it something that you would have a little something to share with our viewers if they haven't heard it?
Yeah.
I'm not that versed in it, and I was doing a live some last year sometime, and I was doing it on light language, knowing that a lot of the stuff that I channel is star languages.
Mm.
And then I was like, oh, I wonder if my dragon would come through. And it did, and it definitely was like, oh, that was in, but it's not something I've done a lot of. So I mean, is it it's not not for the gimmick, but just if is there a taste? Is it helpful?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm kind of being guided to send a transmission to you if you're open to receive
Beautiful.
into
Yes.
into your third eye.
Yeah,
And
beautiful. I love that.
um, what they're saying is if you when I'm done, if you kind of say what you see, kind of thing.
Okay.
If you feel drawn to do that, just
Yeah.
see what happens because you're intuitive there's lots going on for you with from the point of view of you being a very powerful receiver of information and energy. So I don't know what it is that they want to
Okay.
send, but I'd
Okay.
like if you're up for that, then we'll do
Yeah.
that.
Love
Okay.
that. Thank you.
I'm just going to call the dragons in for protection to start with. I'm going to use the dragon's call, which is part of Pendragon Reiki, but it calls to the elemental dragons around us to create a safe space.
Mm.
Dragons of earth and sea and sky, dragons of fire around us fly. Dragons of night and those of gold, come close and let your wings unfold. Dragons of love and those of change, be with us now, then rearrange to dragons of change and those of love. As below, then so above. Dragons one and dragons all, come close and heed this dragon's call. Araman Uhuraish, Garban era o Herana ira ora, ora era ech, and dan or, hera ora ini, van gara gambona ora era mana, gerema hamanora, era herana ish, ishana wera, ishana wera
Mm. Imekte kita kitukuke mahake eteto ishtuko mahakoge dero moe guaka ek edutuk oi sholo uaka ntuko ye na okoi. Oh, bless you, Kieran. Thank you so much. Um, I saw a face, a big face in front of me that you were obviously channeling, or you, or your dragon self, or that guide. And it was like we were talking about the different tendrils. It was like they had this big. It was like one of the dinosaurs. Actually, it's got this big kind of almost like a halo, but that it's like white silver um in front of me. That's what I saw a lot of, but also actually some swirling stuff. And I was like, okay, clear this. Am I just making this up? So the energy around, and I could feel the energy of it. And what was really clear is that exactly like you said, I these languages come very easy to me, and I forget, because you're in human. And actually, though, it's very liberating to just be able to, and it feels, I do believe we have a soul that has been in other realms and dimensions. So it's like a permission to be more of that. But also the energy that you are bringing is very calming. And speaking to you, I'm really can feel in myself how I've had a lot of energy and not known how to channel it for all sorts of reasons,
Mm,
like I've had this big hose going, oh my God. And I'm angry because I'm not meant to have the hose because people think you're weird. So there's this, it feels like a recalibration of softening to
mm.
just, yeah, this is who we are. This is what we do, rather than it being a distant dream. Like as a kid, talking about dragons on a show was like, miles beyond a reality, and here we are, and feeling that energy. So yeah, thank you. Is there
Very welcome.
anything else I needed to know that you picked up on, Kieron?
Just a few things. Oh, you want? There was a big intake of breath. You share. Go on.
No, no, it was just shifting.
The part of the story of dragons is that, as I said, they've been demonized. They've been turned into something to be scared of. So when a dragon does come close in meditation, for many people, their first experience is to go, "Oh bloody hell," and to move back and to go, "Oh no, 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 no," because they're big and scary and angry and grumpy. And they're not, in my experience. And were they will challenge, they will hold that space for you to be challenged, but they regularly just get a bit overexcited. If you know, if you're a dog lover and you know dogs, you know the difference between a dog with a big happy smiley face and a dog that's about to bite you in the ears.
Yeah,
There are subtle differences, but if you know what you're looking for, then you can go, "Oh, that's a dog that's happy to see me. He's got a big smile." But if
yeah,
you're scared of them already, then you see the teeth and you go, "Oh God, this
yeah,
dog's going to bite my face off."
yeah.
And I've had quite a lot of both of those being a postman for a few months,
Yes, of
you know. And
course.
I'm and I'm a I know dogs, so I speak dog. You know, I understand their body language. I know what they're doing.
Yeah,
So they will be all big and bouncy and barking their head off. And they open opens the door and I say hello, and the dog goes, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it." Um, Dragons get overexcited, so when they come close in your mind's eye, they can be right here. They can be right in your face.
yeah, yeah,
Lots of dragon skulls that you can see out in the world have a little protuberance around the brow center, and energetically, that what they're trying to do then is to kind of inject into the third eye, so that they can connect with you. So when
I,
they get really close, brow to brow, that is a deep connection. Now, if you've ever been able to do that with any animal, cats like doing it, horses like doing it, if you've ever done it with another person, the ancient Maori greeting, the brow to brow, is incredibly powerful. That real deep connection with that third eye. So, should that happen, then they're saying hello. They're not trying to
threat
set
it.
fire to your house.
Yeah, yeah,
That's one thing. Dragon fire is not something to be scared of. It is an energy of transformation and change. It is also a greeting. So if a dragon sends fire at you, instead of getting closed off to it or being scared of it or trying to put a shield up to it, if you
mhm,
bring it into the heart center, if you breathe it in and then breathe out a dragony breath to them, then again there's that exchange of energy, that connection. We in the world, with the sort of pomp and circumstances, is shaking hands. The palm chakras exchange energy. Those of us who are a little bit more open to hugging, I'm a big hugger myself, then we have that heart to heart connection. We exchange energy.
mhm.
The dragon fire, the dragons getting close to the brow, is just a way of them saying hello and coming close. And if they spiral and swirl around you, if they
Yeah,
get their energy in their body in this kind of serpentine manner, it's not like in the Jungle Book, they're trying to
yeah,
squeeze the life out of you.
yeah.
They're just coming close to let you feel their scales against your skin
I
again for a transmission of energy.
I love that. And you're just reminding me that while you were kind of leading up to then do the transmission, I could see loads spiraling around us.
Mm.
So that, yeah, and I'd forgotten about that. And I could see fire as well. But again, part of, I still have the thing where I'm like, am I just making this up or wishful thinking this? I was like, just center and surrender. And that's when I saw the face. And it
Mm.
felt like a feminine, it felt like a mother energy, like a very
Yeah.
nurturing energy. And it was like yeah, like I want to say, well, like a welcoming or like a reminding for me. I've got all these projects on, and I kind of don't always consciously tune in to these other beings. I know they're there, and I ask for the help, but I'm, writing this
Mm.
book or doing whatever. So yeah, sometimes you need that reminder. So amazing. Kieron, is it time to do a little meditation
Yeah, absolutely.
for the viewers?
One last thing is, so we're going to do a little journey now to meet a dragon familiar.
Yeah.
And a dragon familiar is a gateway. So they can be any size and shape and any color, any gender. They could be fluffy, they could have wings, they could not have any of those things. They could be teeny tiny and small, or they could be as large as the universe. But they are a gateway. So if you have thought all your life that you're a watery person and you end up with a fire dragon sitting in front of you, you haven't done anything wrong. It's just a gateway. They're showing you a version of themselves that can work with you now. But if you need to connect with that watery energy, they'll shift and change to that. They are infinite beings. They are it's just a portal. They're just a way to get from this energy to that energy. They are a conduit. So there's no right or wrong dragon to have.
Nice.
That may conflict with other people's thoughts and ideas about dragons, and the idea of dragon connections. But that's a whole other episode, I think. But in my experience, they will make themselves into the shape and form that is acceptable to us. You may find that your dragon is small and quite young if you haven't connected with them before, and as the connection grows and as you deepen that connection moving forwards and call them into your energetic practices, they can get older and wiser and bigger as your connection grows. So you may have an egg that you may not quite be ready to really connect with the energy of the dragons yet, but you have a dragon's egg to work with that. There's all kinds of possibilities, but we're going to go on a little journey to visit a space and place and a world.
Beautiful. And if you would like to do this, and I just want to say, get comfortable. Please don't do this when you're driving. Don't be don't be rushing about. If you're going to do this, and if you can't do it right now, pause it, come back to it. It'll be up, on YouTube until YouTube doesn't exist, I'm sure. And make yourself comfortable. Make sure you're not going to be disturbed, so you can really dive in and enjoy it. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. No operating heavy machinery or
Yes.
making important life decisions.
Yeah, that's right.
So just take a few deep breaths then. Longer, slower breaths. Just tune into your body. Have a little wiggle around, get comfortable. If there's areas of stress or pain or resistance in the body, just breathe into those spaces. Give yourself permission to be in this space and place. As we did before, I'm going to call to the energy of the Dragon Collective through the Dragon's Call to ask the dragons to come around and close to us, to be with us. And as I do that, just breathe and allow and relax. Help your muscles to relax. Dragons of earth, of sea and sky, dragons of fire around us fly. Dragons of night and those of gold come close and let your wings unfold. Dragons of love and those of change, be with us now, then rearrange to dragons of change and those of love. As below, then so above. Dragons one and dragons all, come close and heed this dragon's call. And as the dragons of earth and sea and sky come around us, they form a triangle, one in front and the other two behind, to the left and to the right. They open their wings wide to form a triangular space around us, and within the center of that a dragon of fire spirals and swirls, cleansing and clearing the space around us. The dragons of night come from the black hole of the center of our galaxy, and the dragons of gold come from the great central sun. One from high above us, one from deep below, spiraling and swirling, dancing and moving, opposite but the same. When they come close to us, they open their wings wide, they hold each other in an embrace, they spiral and swirl around us, creating a sphere of energy, like a three-dimensional yin-yang symbol. They rest their head upon the shoulder of the others. Gold in the darkness, and darkness in the gold. Balance, protection, peace. Within that space, two dragons. One red, one white, one masculine, one feminine, dancing and moving, spiraling and swirling, creating heart shapes and infinity loops. The dragons of love and change. One over the heart center, one above the brow. And we are drawn from this space out into the deeper world, out into the universe. The dragons of love expand to enshroud our galaxy in love and light, and an infinity loop, a figure of 8, between Mother Moon and Father Sun, holding us again in that space of balance, of light. Around us in this space are all other dragons, dragons of different dimensional spaces, dragons of colours that we cannot describe, dragons of sound, of song, dragons of feelings, dragons of emotion, dragons of pure energy, dragons of peace. They all breathe soft and gently their version of the dragon's breath. A soft and gentle mist, powerful, shifting and moving, dancing and swirling, moving softly and gently yet alive into our reality. And this soft, gentle, magical mist gently dissolves everything around us. The chair that you sit on, the walls, the ceiling and floor, everything in the three-dimensional world slowly fades away. Surrounded and protected by the Dragon Collective, we are drawn up into this mist, up into the clouds, surrounded and protected, calm and relaxed. Anal na draco thes bethud, dochiel dienve. Anal na draco thes bethud, dochiel dienve. Anal na draco thes bethud, dochiel dienve. After a while flying through this mist, we get a sense of being drawn down. And soon enough our feet land upon soft, warm grass. As we energetically open our eyes, the mist around us is clearing somewhat. The energy of the dragons is still there, but we can see before us we are standing upon a rocky outcrop on a high hilltop, on a mountainside. Far below us is a beach. On the left-hand side, the sand moves into sand dunes, into a forest. And upon the right-hand side, the waves get bigger and deeper. A Father Sun is beginning to set. He is orange and red. He is strong. Over the energy of the forest upon the left, Mother Moon is full and rising. And in this space, we're at a point of balance. At the horizon, far in the distance, the beach continues and then moves on to a headland, spiraling and curling and looking suspiciously like a sleeping dragon in the ocean waters. High above our head, Even the sky is balanced and split in half. Half stars, half night, and the other half daylight, twilight. This is a space of balance. This is the energy of the dragons. The balance, the alchemy, the transformation, the change, the balance between the earth, the sea, and the sky, the balance between Mother Moon and Father Sun, the balance of the masculine and feminine energies, the red and white dragons. We can see them now, flying between Father Sun and Mother Moon in an infinity loop, a figure of 8 upon its side, full of love, full of light, full of joy and happiness. The dragons of sea are the dragons dancing upon the waves as they crash upon the rocks. The dragons of sky, made up of the rainbows and rain falling, the clouds themselves the shapes of dragons. The dragon of earth, in the distance before us, with her body upon the land and her head resting in the ocean. The sunlight is warm, the moonlight is magical. And if you were to reach out your hands, you could almost taste and touch and feel both of them. The sunlight and moonlight is sinuous and glistening, oily upon your skin. Take a moment to feel the peace and the balance in this place, the love, the longing from the land itself, from the dragons, to reconnect with us, the true nature of Hiraeth, the longing for home. The dragons long to come home, to reconnect with us, to work with us once more, to be part of our lives. And if that is what you wish in this space, then send that message out from your heart into the air between you, between Mother Moon and Father Sun, between the earth, the sea, and the sky, between the day and the night, between the love and the change. From your heart, call to the dragons. Above the horizon, a small speck, growing bigger. Your heart space calling to the energy of this being, calling them home, calling them close. That memory of past lives spent together, the memory of your dragon familiar, the energy that has been with you in every lifetime, the same as your guardian angel. They come closer and they park themselves in the air in front of you, like a helicopter sitting still. They are filled with love, they are filled with light, they are filled with joy and happiness. They are, as I have said, like overexcited Labradors. The dragon breathes in deeply And from the Dantian, from their cauldron of power, they send forward to you fire and flame, a greeting, a remembrance, a joy. Draw this energy, breathe it in into the heart center, let it expand up and down your energy system, spiraling and swirling around the chakras, the meridians, the subtle bodies, the auric field, cleansing and clearing, helping and healing, and remembering, reawakening you, the whole DNA, your birthright, your remembrance, your connection with dragony kind. Let this energy, this magical dragon's fire, spiral and swirl around you, and then you draw it in into your lungs, into the heart center, and back out. Out across the space between you, the energy spirals and swirls. The dragon opens its heart wide, then the energy pours in. It expands up and down their energy system, from the point of his nose, their nose all the way down to the tip of their tail. They shudder with delight and joy. They feast upon this energy, and they will transform, and they will change, and they will shift, and they will move. Changing color, changing shape, changing size, changing sex, changing texture. Remembering who they were when they were your dragon. Remembering you when you were their human. Your souls remembering each other. Like lost family and friends. Like a lost teddy bear from childhood, suddenly found again. They come close, they spiral and swirl around you, they envelop you in the most enormous, warm, loving, kind, caring, dragony, maternal hug. Pure joy, pure gratitude, secure and safe in this space, protected by your dragon familiar, and by default protected by all dragon kind, as this flight of dragons still spirals and swirls in the sky, in the earth, in the sea around us. Your dragon sighs a contented sigh and rests their head upon your shoulder. They breathe deeply once more and fall into a soft and gentle dragony sleep. Their energy melts into your energy system, and you into theirs. From this point forward, they will be with you if you call to them, with your head, with your heart, with your wish and will. But now the mist spirals and swirls around you, and you are brought back out of the world of dragons. You fall asleep in their world. You release their energy, and you are drawn back, 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 back into this here, back into this now, softly and gently, but with that energy of the dragons surrounding and protecting you now. The dragon's breath softly recedes. The walls and ceiling and floor return. The chair beneath you returns. Send some energetic roots down into the earth, back down to Mother Earth to ground you. Call upon your guardians and guides for protection in your usual way. Grounded and protected, calm and relaxed. When you're ready, but without rushing, Open your eyes and return.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Kieran. If you're still a bit dreamy, like I feel, pause this, stop, take your time. You are allowed, if you're watching this and you've gone on your journey, and take some time to journal and integrate everything, drink a lot of water. Um, wow, that was absolutely beautiful, Kieran. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And it's so funny when you were saying, okay, on the horizon, this one's coming towards you. It was so quick, and it like headbutted me, and then we just rolled over. It was like exactly like you said,
Mm.
like this happy Labrador energy. And I'm also laughing because I'm a bit, if I'm very comfortable with somebody, I can be like that. I hold it in because, it's not proper when you're an adult in Britain. But yeah, I can really do that. So I was really loving it. We were just like rolling around like old friends. So
Mm.
yeah, it was absolutely lovely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank
In the same kind of way, when I went up to Leith Hill, when the Violet Flame Chakra was awakened, the next morning I went up to the hill because I couldn't sleep. I was very excited, and the Silver Violet Dragon, who's one of the energetic guardians of that space and was now my one of the dragons I work with,
you.
she did exactly the same thing, like Dino the dinosaur from the Flintstones,
Right.
just flying at me in my mind's eye.
Yeah.
I stopped on the pathway halfway up the hill and I turned around. There's this dragon coming straight at me. And I thought, oh, this is going to be fun. And she poured into me and knocked me back on my back,
Wow.
physically knocked me on my back. Now I'm 6'2", 17 on stone.
Yeah.
I look like I could have been a rugby player. And many things have tried to knock me on my back in this world and failed. But
Yeah.
this energy of this dragon just hit me so hard, I ended up lying on the floor with it right in my face, going, "Hello,
Wow.
I'm here. It's all great. It's amazing." And I was lying on my back, laughing my head off. And
Yeah.
thankfully, it was 5:30 in the morning, and there was nobody else on the hill
And it
because they must
must
have just thought that I was having a stroke or something. But
have. Oh,
when there's that reconnection, it is that kind of unconditional love of like a
yeah.
dog has. That lovely energy.
I really get you. And I was yawning a lot. And I was thinking, wow, because it was like, oh, finally, in this place, you don't have to pretend. I
Mm,
suppose for whatever reason, my path has been one of feeling suppressed. Obviously, that's why I wrote my book, because people thought I was crazy. So I learned really, and as a child, it's like, just don't say anything weird because it's
mm,
just not welcome. So being in that place, it's like, oh, my child can just breathe. And yeah, I mean, I'm just being reminded. I have like children's stories, and it feels like it's in that world, not in
mm,
this, this allowed world, because in those other realms, or the unicorns, the dragons, the elders, the fairies and the
mm.
fays, or you can just connect, and it just feels so relieving, to be honest.
Yeah,
So
and that's why I spent 30 years working in the theatre in schools
right,
because
right.
you have an excuse to act like a child because you're working with children and
Yes,
they
right.
have huge imagination, so you can help them with that, and they love you for the fact that you can get into their world
Yes, go
and
with them.
create
Yeah.
magical worlds, and they feel at home because you can do that and you're an adult,
Yes. Yes.
and
It's like,
so they go, oh, it's okay,
yeah, it's safe here. Yeah,
yeah.
in fact, I'd not ever considered writing children's stories. I kind of half dreamed about writing when I was in uni, and I just threw it away, as if I'm gonna write and it was because two children, because I'm very tall. I walked into my friend's house, and I don't think I hadn't seen her a lot, so she was an old school friend, and her daughter, she opened the door and then kind of went,
Mm,
looking up at me, because her friend was always a lot shorter than me. So obviously I was a big
mm,
difference. And she said, "How did you get so big?" And for some reason, I just made up this story about being part of tree spirit, and it turned into like the first ever very short story that I wrote about, meeting a tree and but it's that thing, isn't it? Once you open, it's giving yourself permission, isn't it?
mm,
And that, I mean, think of J.K. Rowling. I mean, God, thank God that she took that and run with it, because it's giving ourselves permission to keep saying yes to the magic that is there in
Mm.
the other worlds, and bringing it down in, into to meeting
Yeah,
our kind
absolutely. And
of.
children's stories and the theatre. I used to tell all kinds of stories to students. One of my favourite was I had to do a talk to some junior school kids from a school I didn't really know very well, and they were all making a lot of noise on the stage, and I was really nervous because I'm still not that good at being in front of being on stage. It's my job to be behind stage most of the time. So I just knelt down. There's a little crack in the stage. It was made up of different bits, and I just leant down and I started to, as if I was talking to this under the stage.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden, after a little while, the kids stopped and they were nudging each other and pointing at me while I was having this kind of thing. I was going, yeah, okay, yeah, what? And I said sort of quite quietly, oh, it's all right. They'll be quiet in a minute. Then we can get on with it. And then I stood up and all the kids went quiet. And I was like, hello, everyone. So how's it going? How are you? And this one kid put their hand up straight away. Yes. Who are you talking to? What do you mean? Were you just talking to someone? No, 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 I wasn't. No. You were? You were talking to someone? Oh, I was just talking to Grok. But you're quiet now, so it's all fine. And they were. So another kid put his hand up. Yes. Who's Grok? It doesn't matter. Anyway. Oh, and I was like, who's Grok? Who's Grok? So I just told the story of Grok being this spirit of the theatre that lived under the stage.
Wow.
And he loved audiences coming in because he fed from their laughter and from their happiness, and he feasted on it. So he was always happy when there was kids in the theatre because they always made lots of noise and they were very happy. But I was I was giving a lecture about or talking with them about creating stories and imaginations and that kind of thing, because I've always been a big advocate of allowing your imagination
Yeah.
to don't grow up. It's a trap. Don't stay that childlike, not
Yeah.
childish. Don't be childish, but be childlike. Never lose that awe and wonder in the world, because
Yeah.
when we lose that, we lose the magic,
Yeah.
and that's a great sadness.
Yeah. I so
Especially at the moment, there's very little perceived magic in the world.
sure.
There's
Yeah.
definitely a famine time for when it comes to that, but it's still there. So we can still see it in the beautiful sunrises or the flowers coming out or the birds singing. We just
Yeah.
have to remember that that's magical and beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. And you've just reminded me that the dragon that I saw was green, and it really made me remind, living in Wales, it's the thing I love to go out. I mean, my favorite place at the moment is Elan Valley. I tend to go and just there's very little humanness. It's
Mm,
just nature. You can just absolutely immerse. And I'm sure there's more even further out ways, but that's the go-to. And yeah, there was that was the reminder that I felt being with the dragon. I felt the innocence of my child, and
mm,
no wonder some part of me has been really felt really angry because of having to be this when I believe and feel this.
mm,
And that disconnect of who you think you're meant to be. And obviously the work that a lot of us do with our shadow work and all of that is healing those wounds, isn't it?
mm.
Healing the beliefs that we have to, it's not safe to be this, and then really embodying it. So yeah, oh goodness, thank you, Kieran. I could talk to you for a lot about this. Maybe we could have you on again and you could talk more about your runes and
Mm.
do like something with the runes,
Yeah, I'd be
because
happy to. Absolutely.
yeah, it's for me, there's just so much that I have like tasted, even a morsel of meat in the dragons was just like, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm not just crazy, So, if the more we share it, isn't it, then we're normalizing it,
Yeah,
and it
absolutely.
gives that courage for people to come out of the woodwork and not feel like, oh, I can't say that I believe in this. So
Yeah.
Kieran, do you have any offerings coming up, or are you teaching anything, or shall we just send people to your website in the comments
Yeah,
below?
have a little shuffle around brotherofdragons.co.uk. I've got some guided meditations there. There's and my Facebook page as well, which is Brother of Dragons.
Beautiful.
I put events up there, so if I'm doing guided meditations, or I'm doing a full moon meditation on the Soul Sync podcast at the moment, once a month, so people
Okay.
can connect with the energy of that, and that's a
Beautiful.
free download thing. And I will be offering some sessions about soul rescue for the collective. I offer healing and readings for people with the dragon runes, dragon
Mm,
fire or dragon's breath type things, like you said, clearing those wounds as well.
yeah.
And yeah, there's lots to be seen and to be had. So if anyone is guided to have a little ruffle around, that'd be fantastic. And if you want to ask me questions about anything, then just drop me a message or an email,
Yeah.
and through the website, and I'll be happy to help it as much as I can.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I don't really want to leave the energy of the dragons, but we must. Thank you so, so very much, Kieron. Really lovely to hear more about your work. And as we said, if you want to connect with Kieron, just go below and we'll pop all the different links and you can check out Kieron's work. I am very excited. I have a lot of decks, but I'm always wanting to have more as funds allow. So thank you, Kieron. I look forward to delving in at the right time as well. Maybe when I have a deck myself, then we can have a session on that, and
Yeah, absolutely, be happy to.
that
Yeah,
would be
thank
really
you for this
lovely.
opportunity. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Oh, you're so welcome, Kieron. It's just absolutely lovely to hear. I almost want to say you've got your deck there, haven't you? Haven't you?
I
Do you
do.
want to pull a card for us as
Yeah.
a collective just
So
before we go?
I'm just gonna show you the little book of it itself. If it
Oh
stays
my
in.
gosh,
Oh, it's disappeared. It's going to
disappeared.
disappear because of my background. There we go. The
There
Dragon
we
Rune
go.
Oracle
Yeah.
deck. That's me.
Oh,
There they are.
beautiful. Beautiful.
And each of the back of the cards is like this. This is the dragon's eye.
I
Obviously,
gorgeous.
there we go. So I'm just going to pull a card for everyone.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's nice. So we got Lee dragons. There we go.
Oh,
It's
nice.
one of the clans of dragons, and
Okay.
Lee dragons are all about fire and transformation and change and loyalty and passion and fury. Fury not being a bad thing, but that drive, that determination, like you said, that reconnection. So we can always call upon the energy of dragon fire to clear away negative energy from us. Imagine yourself spiraling, swirling a big sphere of dragon fire around you, keeping you safe, keeping you protected, keeping us cleansed and cleared of all that negative energy. There is such a massive amount of fear and anxiety around at the moment.
Yes.
Using the alchemical energy of dragon's fire, we can transform and transmit and alchemize that negative
Yeah.
energy, that challenging energy, into something positive to drive us forward to a greater and better and more light-filled, joy-filled future.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, thank
And
you. I'm just
as I
getting
think about it, it connects really nicely with the Lunar New Year, which we just stepped into yesterday, which is the year of the fire horse. And there is a big connection with horses and dragons. If you look at a skull of a horse, it looks very similar to the dragon skulls which are depicted. There's a big connection there. So the fire dragons, then the year of the fire horse, transformation, change, positive energy, are very connected to this year that we're moving into.
I love that. And I wanted to say then, like, we can call upon the dragons like we do the angels to send their healing fires around the world. Because I know at the minute, I feel like a lot of people are saying, oh, people aren't doing enough because this is getting exposed. And some people, they've just got a lot on, they just don't have the bandwidth. And that's okay. We're all doing the best. We all know we're going through this thing collectively. So for me, one of the ways that I kind of marry that up with what I'd love to do and what I can have, my personal capacity is just okay, ask for that divine intervention, but we can
Mm.
ask the dragons to come in force, isn't it? And
Yeah,
purify,
absolutely.
heal, transmute, whatever is for the highest good. Like if you're making a prayer, always for the highest good, because some souls, they might be choosing this kind of drama to play out for their
Mm.
learning, and we don't always know what's behind the scenes. So but
Absolutely, and specifically the energy of the violet flame, which is all about transformation, change, and alchemy, and the energy of the dragons come together, and they are epitomized by two dragons: the silver violet and the golden violet dragon, the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. The silver violet dragon being the feminine, golden violet dragon being the masculine, and we can use the envision those dragons using that energy for transformation, change, like you said, for the highest good, to alchemize and to help bring that transformative energy. Part of the fear and the anxiety at the moment is because we're going through this big change, this big shift, and it needs a lot of energy. You get down to the sort of the quantum mechanics of something for an electron to move to a different state of being or vibration or within an atom. It needs a massive amount of energy to shift to a point where it's stable,
Yeah,
when it can shift and move to another sphere for
sure.
change. So that's what we are experiencing now. So if we ask those dragons to help with that, then it can bring some positive transformation and change.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it? It's because a lot of people can be feeling tired right now because
Mm,
of the shifts that are going on. So it's really, take care of yourself after
mm,
you've listened to this, if you went through the meditation, because, there can be changes moving. You may feel a bit tearful. Or for me, I was releasing and yawning. I
mm,
was like, oh, because something in me was just, oh, it's just relaxing. Felt like taking the pressure off performing in this world, just
mm.
like no, just no more of that, just being our gentle self, despite the challenges that are going on
Yeah,
around us. So
and
oh
that's true strength. Just to be yourself, be who
yeah,
you are.
yeah.
And I'm very lucky. I've worked very hard. It's been a very challenging time for me over the last few years, as you know. But I'm at the stage where I go, well, just quietly, just gently. This is me,
Mm,
and this is what I do. And if you're not into that, that's okay.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
are, super duper. But if you can't get on with what I'm saying, that's fine.
yeah,
Just
walk on by.
yeah, toodle off. See you later. Have a
Yeah.
biscuit. Enjoy your Jaffa cakes, and off you go.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. Enjoy Jaffa cakes. That's a nice one, isn't it? Instead of the more
Yeah,
plosive words that we might use. Yeah, love that. Oh, Kieran, thank you. I'm bathing in the gentle energy. Thank you so much.
you're
And
welcome.
thank you for tuning in. If you've made it this far, well done. So much love to you. Do join us next week. We have Dr. Stephen Colon, who is an American psychiatrist. He works in his own practice, and he was the guy that wrote the foreword in my book because he's into alternative psychiatric practices and all of that stuff. So do join next week. But in the meantime, go to find Kieron and check him out. Check him out. And also we'll pop a link if you want to buy a pack of the runes, the cards rather. So yeah. So thank you everybody. So much love to you. And we will see you again next time on Ascension TV online. Bye for now.